Well, good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for joining us today. We're basically going to talk about the 2020's Content in Cloud initiative. So my name is Bruce Allen. I've been basically using computers and architectural applications since 1969, and I've been specifically working with data structures and applications for interior architecture since the mid-1980s. The Content in Cloud is basically addresses a series of questions, opportunities that customers have not had the benefit of with our traditional tools the last few years. So we certainly think that the Content in Cloud will improve the design experience. It'll ensure that the designers are always using the latest, most up-to-date catalogs, which is really key. It will allow a manufacturer to make everybody essentially aware of their product updates instantly, because live updates will be live streamed through the cloud. It'll notify everyone that your latest updates and catalogs are available. And basically, the designer can request special products from within the application, which is one thing that we're anxious to look forward to, is to allow manufacturers to present catalogs of what they're trying to sell and not everything they're willing to make, which would really give them a lot more ability to address the needs of the market. In addition, the manufacturer will have increased control over the availability and delivery of the catalogs. You will have immediate time to market with new products and pricing. So I think one of the things that manufacturers will see is a tendency to do smaller updates frequently rather than wait and do an update every 6 months or a year, which has been the history of the industry. That'll let you get new door styles, new finishes, new products to market much faster in reacting to market trends. You'll be able to promote your products exactly the way you want in a variety of ways. So there's a lot more ways to provide information relative to your products through the cloud. You'll be able to review usage of your data and your catalog. So you'll be able to not just see what people are ordering, but you'll be able to see what designers are placing in designs from your catalogs. And then comparing those to orders, you'll be able to see trends relative to what they're looking at versus what they're actually selling. And of course, that'll let you forecast product usage and design trends so that you can improve your purchasing of materials and essentially react faster to fulfilling orders and getting from order to cash. So one of the objectives with the cloud, and one of the reasons it's taken as long as it has to develop, is 2020 is normalizing all of their data formats around a new format on the cloud. So that'll allow us to have all the content available, as needed. And that content would be available to the people that need it based on what their job function is. So as an example, a catalog might have manufacturing information, but a designer at point of sale doesn't need to see that, but somebody in the plant does. And of course, that data will be live streamed, so it's available at the right time when people need it. So when we look at a universal data format, one of the challenges that we've had with 2020 design is that catalog developers have a lot of flexibility to create catalogs uniquely and the way they want, which is fine in some respects, but for the dealer and the designer, it's not that good, because fundamentally then they have to learn catalogs, not just software. And they can't just go from catalog to catalog easily. They essentially have to be trained on how a catalog is structured. It's also a problem for the manufacturer, who may have multiple catalogs and multiple catalog creators, and if they're working differently, then there's no commonality even within their own organization, and people can't assist with each other with catalogs, with updates. So one of the big functions around the cloud is that we're normalizing data, And to some extent, we're normalizing it on the file-based catalog, and then we'll be migrating that data into the cloud. And the reason we're taking a migration type approach is because we know that our customers aren't going to just jump to the cloud overnight. We know there's going to be a 2, 3, 4-year transition period. So in that time frame, we had to make it affordable and manageable for manufacturers to support both the existing file-based formats and the new cloud format. Okay, so let's take a look at what that means. The current catalogs are what we call styles and pricing. In other words, you can assign a door style to a design, and every item would inherit that assignment of that door style. The new format allows the door style to be stored on each item within the design. So suddenly I could, let's say, apply one door style to the whole kitchen, and then I could change the door style on just the island. So I can start to mix and match my selections within a kitchen. It gives me much more flexibility. And it also makes it much easier for me to place an accurate order because each line item essentially knows what it is. It doesn't have to look at a header for inherited information. So those selections on a styles and pricing catalog are inherited by each item, but each item within the features and options data structure, the new cloud structure, can have those selections assigned to it individually. The other thing that you could do with the styles and pricing catalog, the traditional file-based catalogs, is you can assign in the catalog invalid selections. And basically you assume that the designer is smart enough not to select those. But if they do, then it prices at $9,999, and one can expect then the designer knows they're not selling something for that, and they pick up those errors and they try and resolve them in some way. With features and options, however, invalid selections are not allowed. So you would have a unique, for a feature assigned to an item, you would have a unique set of options that are only available on that item. So that resolves a major conflict in terms of trying to get clean orders on designs and accurate quoting. With styles and pricing, a lot of customization has been required to handle unique price requirements. So people write custom HTML pages, custom algorithms. They've got all kinds of dependencies within the catalog to try and drive the right pricing off of the different relationships. But with features and options, I can have direct dependencies of options to a feature and to an item. So as an example, I can have a base cabinet. It can have a feature for door style. I can pick an option, which is a specific door style. And then it could point to a sub-feature where it only offers me options that are available in that door style. So as an example, if a finish is not available in that door style, it will not be offered on the next feature list for selection. In addition, the pricing is simpler and much more flexible. So what you have in a feature and option catalog is you actually have a price upcharge available on every option selected within that catalog. So as an example, if I have a base 24 cabinet and I apply a door style and it gets an upcharge of $20, if I pick a base 30 cabinet and apply that same door style, it might get an upcharge of $30 because the option is dependent on the item and the previous features that were available. So we're able to actually store that pricing exact to what that item is. Another problem with styles and pricing is basically an entire order must be validated before it can be pushed into production, because you've got the styles and the pricing, et cetera, established at the header level. The items constantly have to look back at the header, and if there's anything incomplete, the whole order is incomplete. But essentially with features and options, every item is a complete order within itself. You can hold and process them all and hold up the order, or you could choose to push the items that are valid into production while you're trying to resolve the discrepancies with the customer. The other thing that's interesting is that with styles and pricing, that content and those catalogs are only available to 2020 design. But with the cloud initiative, those catalogs would be available to all of our applications. So suddenly you could use a European catalog in North America, or you could use a North American catalog in Asia. You could actually place cabinets in a home office design along with commercial furniture. So it really opens up, it basically makes the data independent of the application, or will when we're complete with the full cloud. It'll make it independent of the application in which it's used. You'd be able to use a catalog online for direct consumer facing, and that same catalog can be used by a dealer within a professional production tool to actually fully design and specify the kitchen. So why make the change? Well, the design experience is more intuitive and easier, so it's going to be preferred by the dealer. There'll be a much wider choice of up-to-date products, and much more information will be available on each of those products. Features and options are stored on each line item, so you've actually got a much more intelligent, robust data structure. You'll be able to search for items across catalogs based on how they're categorized within the catalogs, with the normalization of the data across brands and across industries. You'll be able to still assign your styles and pricing, your features, your options globally if you want, but you'll also be able to select areas of the room or even individual items and change them without affecting the other items that were not selected. You'll also have more accurate pricing. So upcharges will be specifically applied, be applied correctly to each item based on that item and all the previous options that have been selected. That'll increase the accuracy of quotes and orders, allowing you to validate each line item individually. You'll have much more control over species, finish, door style, etc. on a cabinet within the design. And you'll basically be able to have much more intelligent reports and quotes for your customers, because there's more information available on every line item to be output. So you'll have increased efficiencies. You'll have access to the latest, most up-to-date product information, because it's going to be live streamed from the manufacturer directly to their customer. You'll be able to complete designs by including a lot more product that would be available through the cloud, like different appliance, hardware, furnishings, etc. You'll actually have the ability, a manufacturer would have the ability to push promotional pricing or even contract pricing out to specific designers or dealers, something that heretofore has really only been available to the big retailers who manage promotional pricing within their own ERP systems. But suddenly a manufacturer could essentially have that same behavior with an independent dealer group. You'll have accelerated time to market, so you'll be able to more quickly capitalize on latest consumer trends and what customers are asking for. And you'll be able to live stream these updates by market or region. Why make the change? Well, you'll improve order accuracy. We anticipate right now that about 40% of designers are working with an out-of-date catalog, because they're dependent on going to each manufacturer individually, getting the latest catalog, knowing when to get it, and installing it on all their machines. But with the cloud, everybody will be accessing the same data through the cloud. It'll be live streamed to every designer that's approved to receive it, and they'll all be working with the latest, most current information. Only valid selections are available, so that'll improve your order accuracy. You'll have real-time validation of data, which will also assure accuracy on pricing. Your clean order rate should be improved, and that should eliminate a lot of costly reordering, which should improve the margins for the dealers. So another advantage is the manufacturer has more control over who can use their catalog and see their latest data. So essentially within the cloud, if your catalog is restricted, has restricted usage to just your customers, the designer would have to select that catalog, and it would submit a request to what we call the Content Studio, which is the administrative console that the manufacturer has. That request would be pending within Content Studio, and the manufacturer, whoever is managing that administration, would see the pending request. the manufacturer could then basically either allow or restrict access to that catalog. If they allow access to that designer, then everybody within that designer's direct company, as defined in their 2020 account, would have access as well. So it's not like every designer has to request access. So if you assign access, let's say, to one dealer like Williams Distributing, then every designer within Williams Distributing would then have access to that catalog. The same as if you restrict access. If you deny it, then nobody within that dealer would be able to access that catalog unless they re-request and you allow it in the future. You could also, the manufacturer can go into Content Studio and they can restrict access that was previously allowed if they have a change in representation within a certain market or region. Okay, within the cloud, you'll be able to now run analytical reports. And basically, you'll be able to track catalog and item and option usage. So you'd be able to basically see how often designers are selecting a particular door style, or how often they're placing a certain type of product, or how often they're accessing your catalog. You'd be able to build dashboards to generate reports on this that you could share for enhanced business information. One of the manufacturers that we had, because we just launched the configurable cloud in the middle of June this year. So within 30 days, a single manufacturer with one catalog published on the cloud had 53 designers place over 3,500 products. And they could see who was accessing it and which products were placed. It was a new product launch, so they were surprised that their order volume doubled expectation. They were able to use the analytics to revise their purchasing of their material acquisitions so that they were in a better position to fulfill those orders when they started to come in. And of course, that decreased their time to market to get the product back to the consumer and to convert that order into actual cash. So to date, we have since middle of June, we have 125 catalogs supported on the cloud already, represented by 86 different manufacturers. Okay, why make the change? Well, there's some advantage to being the first mover. Frankly, if designers prefer your catalog, they're going to use it more frequently. So if as the user experience gets adopted and it's quicker and more functional for the dealer, then they're more likely to use the cloud-based catalog than the file-based catalog. In addition, they will, if they're using the cloud catalog, they'll have the latest, most up-to-date product information. So if the manufacturer determines that they want to respond quicker to trends, release smaller updates more frequently, they'll be in a much better position to do that with the cloud than they will be by updating their file-based catalog. The dealers will have improved margins, of course, which will make them much more interested in selling the product they're making the most money on. And they'll be able to close their sales faster with accurate pricing, cleaner reports for the customer to understand, and submitting clean orders to the manufacturer will certainly help fulfillment. Now, the cloud is driven by the new subscription software that we have that we released called 2020 Design Live. Now, the advantage to subscription software is similar to that with the catalog, is that one of the problems we've had with the market is we've had customers using old software. And of course, they continue to complain about features that are broken that have been fixed for years, but they haven't installed the updates. So with a subscription in 2020 Design Live, the intent is to keep the customers current on the latest software easily and quickly, just like they're staying current with their catalogs. The improved user experience with 2020 Design Live with the new cloud browser is faster, more intuitive, and more productive. And it's got a new rendering engine. So even though the traditional rendering engine for 2020 Design is very capable, it's also complex and requires a user to be well trained to use it effectively. But the new Easy Render engine, which is available in as well as the traditional engine, is simpler and easier to use. It's literally 80% faster or better because it's based off of our web technologies that we've been developing for consumer facing. The rooms and the lighting are preset, so the designer doesn't have to worry about placing lighting before they can do a rendering. And frankly, the rendering quality is much higher and much more consistent. So we noticed that the materials are much more true to what they actually are in the new Easy Render engine than they are in the traditional rendering engine. But the biggest benefit we think to Easy Render is now every designer can render all the time. When it only takes 3 or 4 minutes to generate a high quality rendering instead of 20 or 30 minutes, it really makes it available for everybody. And even within the showroom, you could do it in front of the customer and the customer doesn't get impatient waiting. So we expect this will allow it to close more business with less effort, in less time, and with increased margins. All right. Now, of course, we need to mitigate risk with this. Change is disruptive. So designers need to update software. Designers need to learn how to effectively work with the new software. There's a lot of features in it that are different than what they've used in the past. So if they try and work the way they've always worked, they're not going to get the benefits out of it that they will if they embrace the new features the way they're designed to function. The manufacturer is certainly going to end up having to support 2 versions of the same catalog during the transition, both the file-based desktop catalog and the cloud catalog. To assist with that, we've taken the approach of migrating the file-based catalogs to the cloud. So we haven't released any new authoring tools for direct development of catalogs on the cloud and won't for a couple of years. Instead, we've taken an approach to maximize the ability to update and improve the file-based catalogs and then convert them to cloud so that they can be published in that format. And that allows the manufacturer, without a lot of additional cost or effort, to actually support existing customers as well as the ones who are moving into the new platform. During the transition period to 2020 Design Live, we're actually upgrading the 2020 Design perpetual licenses to the new subscription application at no charge at all. They'll simply maintain their existing M&S levels in maintenance and support levels on the new subscription account. Okay. We look forward to working with you as we migrate the industry onto the cloud. Thank you.